And just touching on what you said last, right, about a radical change, something that's coming that's going to make things very, very different. I think it's a great segue into the last part of the conversation, which is to get a little bit of your perspective on what role AI is playing, right,
Mhm.
in product design, product engineering, and your work and the work of designers like yourselves, right? Maybe before I get into any specific questions on how you might be using AI or all of those things,
Mm,
maybe
mm,
just a high level view from you on
mm,
has anything materially changed
mm.
before
Oh,
and after
lots.
ChatGPT when it comes to not the world? I mean, the world has changed substantially, but
No,
when it
no,
comes
my,
to
my
your
life.
product design and product building, could
Mm.
you give us a sense of what that looks like?
Definitely. I would like to think of it as a part of the Industrial Revolution. First time if you look at the man-machine equation, we didn't create machines, so we used other men as machines. I mean, when I say it like that, it sounds very scientific. Basically, slavery. That's what we did, right? And we used other, bunch of machines to kind of increase our efficiency and effectiveness. And then we started creating tools, some levers according to Archimedes' principle. And then we moved the earth in many, many ways. And then we started creating factories. And then our efficiency and effectiveness kind of skyrocketed. And so if you look at it, the amount of work the man did was like so big and the machine did was so small. This was like 100,000 years ago. And then slowly, if you look at this equation, the amount of work the man does is getting slow. I mean, it's smaller, and the amount of work the machine does is expanding. There has come a point where the man need not do anything. First, we let go of our muscle. Now we are letting go of our cognitive ability. Yeah. So the body and the mind is being replaced in many, many ways. Um, Intelligence is what actually made us the super species. Adaptability, as we call it, ability to make tools, ability to have conversations, and having the language as a medium to have that conversation. These are the three things which made us who we are. We are not the fastest, we are not the strongest, we don't even reproduce as good as other animals, but still we rule the world. This is what made us. Now, we are creating a tool which can create tools, which can create language, which can collaborate within itself. What are we doing? Where are we heading to? I'm very excited that this phase, I am seeing a superhuman productivity in how I think, how the six pager, which takes me probably 2 weeks to write, is done in like 60 minutes. Amazing. First draft is ready in 60 minutes. In 6 hours, that is because I need to discuss with human beings. It takes
Sure.
6 hours. Otherwise, it would be done in less time, right? So, in that sense, definitely, there is a productivity skyrocketing for sure. Um, I don't know what we would be from a first principle point of view because our adaptability will be threatened. I hope we don't allow. We will still remain the master, and every other tool remains as a slave. The minute this equation changes, things
That
are
could be
going to
very,
be
very
different. I
got
don't want to create a doomsday here, but that's the first principle.
understood. And we've all obviously been hearing about vibe coding as a
Mm,
thing, right? Lovable, Cursor, Windsurf getting acquired by one
yeah.
of the large LLM players for billions of dollars, literally months after launching. And it seems to not just be like a passing fancy, but it really, really seems like people are getting into it, right?
Yeah.
Maybe
Yeah.
two questions here. One is, how do you sort of look at this whole vibe coding piece? Do you think that serious product development innovation can actually come out of this,
Hmm.
where people can start building? Because I think the most far out thought that I have heard is that, look, why do you even need to buy software? You can just now
Mm,
make your own, right?
yeah.
And you can pay to host it and do all of those things, and it's very, very cheap. So this is like one huge revolution of like product-led growth where you are yourselves
Mm,
building products that you need, customizing them, and then you are using them. Right? So one, I wanted to get your take
mm,
a little bit more on how you see this whole vibe
mm,
revolution as a product designer yourself? And second is more tangibly, when it comes to say the way enterprises are working, the companies are working, any thoughts on how y'all are leveraging AI to be
Mm.
able to make your life, your job more simpler, more effective,
Yeah.
and faster?
Um, I never believed in designers, product managers, engineers, this kind of segregation. I always called ourselves as value creators. Basically, we are value operators, right? We create value, we deliver value, we communicate value, we capture value. That's what we do really, really well. Just that I do the desirability part, or product manager does the viability part, and the engineer does the feasibility part. But at the end of the day, we are all coming together. Now, what AI is doing is it's making it a level playing field to a point where I can code a piece. My engineer can kind of create a design without really, deeply investing into learning Figma. I don't have to deeply invest in learning, say, an API orchestration, stuff like that. I can understand what is a composable architecture. Now it is easier, right? But as long as I have these basics, vibe coding will work. My worry is I started Noco Loco in 2018. No code, low code. In fact, I talked about node design. This was one of my viral talks in the Google Developer Conference. In front of 1,500 developers, I said, your job is gone, and slowly my job will be gone. And this was said in 2018, right? And I'm not too surprised that it is coming true today. So in the no-code revolution, what I saw was anybody who had basics were able to up their productivity a little bit. You might go ahead and vibe code today saying, hey, create a blog page for me, blah, blah, blah. Create a software for me. But if you don't know how to put these Lego blocks together, you can't really use it. A simple thing, I was trying to create an AI product design, a 100-day challenge or something like that, because I got too many queries on this. And I just wanted it to be done into a website. And I paid $25 to Replit and said, okay, code this for me. Yeah, Replit was beautiful. It said, I'm thinking, I'm doing this, I'm connecting this. Da, 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 da. But you know what? It didn't solve the problem. Because Notion's API was not, was not friendly enough. And I didn't know how to. Then it said, oh, transfer all of this into Superbase. Go ahead and connect it using Pipedream, or go ahead and use Zapier. I'm like, why? I have Notion. If I just click, it is published. Just to create a web interface, why are you wasting 6 hours of my time? So while it sounds very sexy to go ahead and do vibe coding, if you don't know how the engineering building blocks work, you might not, it will become like another Wikipedia. You will know a lot of stuff. You might just, but I don't know if you will solve real problems. I haven't seen anything that is mind-blowingly changing by a designer who doesn't know enough about the engineering part. Maybe an engineer is able to use vibe code because it is able to rocket their productivity. Similarly, as a designer, I will be able to use Stitch by Google because it is able to create, in Figma, and I know how to operate with Figma. If you don't know, if you have never cooked, and if you asked an AI to cook it for you, you should at least know what is the recipe, what is the ingredients. You should at least be able to taste and say, okay, this is good. This is how a French toast is supposed to be. This is not how it is supposed to be. So garbage in is garbage out is my take. If you don't know the basics, then in the enterprise side, are we using AI? Definitely. Because 30-40% of our code is actually written by AI now. Right. So, and I'm hearing it from all my other enterprise friends as well, that what used to take them 1 week is getting done in half a day. And that's amazing. But you still need an engineer to kind of say if it is done right. So what used to take me 30 minutes to write is done in 5 minutes, but it still needs me to say, okay, is it making sense? So to me, AI is an amplifier. If you're good, it will make you great. If you're bad, it will not make you good. That's my take.
And could you give us a few examples, not necessarily from Salesforce, of course, but just in general from the ecosystem,
Mhm.
how you can actually use AI for product design, for product development, right? It'd be just helpful
Mm.
to get some perspective. Of course, I mean, some of the things from what you already said comes to mind that, look, you can use some of these tools to say, build mockups, build MVPs very fast, to iterate. But in a little bit more detail, if you could just walk us through
Mm.
versus the workflows that used to exist pre ChatGPT when
Mm.
it came to designing a product
Mm.
versus the workflow that exists today post ChatGPT when it comes to creating a product. Like, what
Yeah.
has changed? What tools do people use? Where are the areas where in product
Mm.
design you've seen the greatest impact? And I think we'll end on that note.
Yeah, I mean, I distinctly remember I've been going through a little bit of health crisis in the last 12 weeks. And I think when I was in the hospital, my head of engineering called and said, Karthi, I have an idea. And
Oh,
imagine if we are able to do this for our account executives. Isn't that awesome? Can your team kind of help me with some mocks? Because I really want to explore. It's still a thought in my head. I'm stuck in a, I'm sitting in a hospital waiting on a queue for the doctor to come. And I'm like, okay, I will get back to you, I told her. And then I just opened my Claude and I said, okay, here is what I want to do. Here is my idea. And I translated that into a PRD. And I translated that PRD into a design by actually telling Claude like what to do. And it was able to create a full-fledged web page, a mobile adjusted for that resolution. And it was able to create even a prototype using all of this. All of this while I was waiting in queue for the doctor to come. And then I sent by afternoon and I said, I didn't have access. I'm actually on sick leave today and I didn't have access to my computer, but is this what you're talking about? She's like, oh, this is brilliant. And then we both were vibing on it and said, okay, let's go ahead. And after the jam, a few things got removed, a few things got added. And this went through 17 iterations in less than 5 hours. That night, we were able to hash it all together. Not the beautiful presentation, but we hashed it all together. And we were able to show it to our executive leadership team and say, we're thinking in this direction. Should we invest more capacity in this? I mean, a long story short, that idea got shot because architecturally that was a nightmare. We cannot do it right now. But a ability to make a decision in 5 hours with 17 iterations, unheard of. That too on a sick leave, without touching even your junior designer. And that, more than anything, that story left me with like, oh shit. It's not just engineers are screwed. It's designers, product managers, engineers, all of us, right? It was an amazing, experience to go through where you are able to go from idea to execution in a very short time. How deeply you know about the domain, that deeply you can talk to Claude, prompt it, and you will be able to create something really, really awesome. Then I asked one of my team members to go ahead and do a similar thing. The output that they got was completely different because their understanding of that problem statement was not as deep as I had. So, in that sense, I think we do need product people and designers who understand the depth of what is going on, but execution is accelerated.
Got it.
That's my take.
Understood. No, no, that's it's actually quite scary in some ways when you hear it like that. But it was great to actually get a real world example from someone who's using it, right, functionally, for enterprise use cases. Like